Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of The Bald Brad Show. It is officially Friday, Valentine's Day, February 14th. Love is in the air, baby. And let me tell you, we're all loving Donald Trump right now because he is making America great again. The man is out there working at all hours so that we can hopefully have a prosperous life, or more prosperous than what we are already living. And as always, a lot of news to cover. It is Friday, folks. We're rounding out the week, and I hate to say it, but there is no end to the news cycle when Donald Trump's in office. Everything just keeps going, which is why we've been doing 2 podcasts a day here at 6 a.m., which is our traditional one. And then what we have been doing is throwing up a lot of Dark MAGA nights. So Dark MAGA is where we pop on the Dark MAGA hat, baby. And we do a lot more long form clips, 40 minutes, an hour. And we hang out as a community and we really get engaged with the news and what the heck's going on. So good morning to all you Patriots. I see you in the chat. You guys know I read it. And if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to the Bald Brad Show, where we have a community of patriots, like-minded individuals, not all Republicans, a lot of independents, where we come together and go over news like this. We're just going to throw it at you. Also, if you're new, Friday's taping, Friday's podcast is a little bit more loosey-goosey. It's a little bit more relaxed than Monday through Thursday because we got to go into the weekend a little bit relaxed here. We can't always be amped up and ready to go like the Energizer Bunny. Trump could do that. Us, we need to take a chill pill every now and then. So I held off on this. Some of you have already seen this individual here where there was this LGBT activist at a city council meeting, and it's so far out there, as you can see on your screen, that I still don't know if this is real or not. This is where we are at in terms of the Democrat Party, the progressive left, just going wild. I don't know how you picture it. So one of the inevitable consequences of all the lies we've been told lately is that you begin to question some older historical claims that are treated as gospel. And that's a rational response. After all, if the experts in the 21st century are willing to lie to us about pandemics and the Iraq war, then you can only imagine how many lies were told in previous centuries before people had access to social media. Seeing what happened to Donald Trump, for example, you might wonder whether Richard Nixon was really a crook. That's a good question. You might question whether you were told the truth about JFK's assassination or the whole backstory that's been created around legendary figures like Pocahontas or Harriet Tubman. Today, there's yet another hysterical narrative we can add to that list. After reviewing recent events, I've come to the inescapable conclusion that we really need to take a closer look at the Salem witch trials and what they were all about. If you remember, in history class, we were told the Salem witch trials were a grave historic injustice because of dozens of people in Salem were falsely accused of being insane witches. And as we all know, insane witches are not a thing, and prosecutors never should have suggested such a thing. You can't just go around accusing people of completely being crazy because they're under some sort of demonic influence. That would be ridiculous. If you haven't read about the Salem witch trials, there is a great book that is a great capture of all the different cases. And in short, basically you had Salem and these 2 little girls at the beginning just claiming everybody was witches, and they just started killing everybody. I mean, that is a very big synopsis, but that's pretty much what happened. It was you're a witch, cool, no evidence, peace out, you're dead. That was the Salem witch trials. Bonkers. And if witches and demons did exist, then certainly wouldn't exist in a place like colonial Massachusetts where everyone educated and well-spoken. So whatever trials took place were clearly null and void and were a travesty of justice. That's how we were taught to think about this whole shameful episode of the United States. Now, you have this here. The footage comes from a city council meeting that lasted several hours, and it concerned a proposed resolution to declare that Worcester, Massachusetts, is a sanctuary city for transgender and gender fluid individuals. It's never really explained what exactly that means or why it's necessary. These people are very worried that the Trump administration is going to deport transgender and gender fluid individuals, apparently, even though no one suggested doing that. In fact, there have been no laws proposed anywhere by anyone that would have any impact on any of the people you see in the city council meeting. Yet they held a public hearing to discuss their concerns anyway. And one by one, they demonstrated that we are severely and I mean very, really severely, underestimating the number of completely unhinged people who live in the state of Massachusetts. Again, and that was a connection to the Salem witch trials, where there's a bunch of unhinged people. They're roaming and breathing the same air as us. I don't know if we need to bring back insane asylums or mental institutions, but this is what happens when you have a society and you allow people to cosplay and do make-believe out there in the public with no shame whatsoever. And so I want to reserve myself. I want to say this again. I want to reserve myself because this is so insane that I'm not sure if it's real. Okay. Now, for all of us, I don't think any of us would do this. Maybe George would if he's in here, but that's it. Andrea, thank you so much for the $3. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Shout out to you. And thank you for being a member, by the way. I see that freaking badge and it looks good on you. I'll tell you what, the badges look good next to your guys' names. Looks great. Here we go. What the hell? Got the Latina eyebrows.
I need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Up, please?
I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off.
You gotta be shitting me. There's no way this is real. There's no way. This looks like people are dressing up for like a middle school performance.
I do not want to be in your DMs.
I don't know what the hell I just watched, but if it's legit, you're seeing in real time, these people exist, folks. They're walking amongst us, breathing the same air. These are the people that Disney wants to elevate and promote and create movies. Yeah, you saw basically the Democrat Party. Let's be real. You saw the Democrat Party here in 2025. That's what they look like. That's who they want to be the next president of the United States and make decisions on your behalf. These are people that can't even do their makeup correctly, and they want to elect people that can't do their makeup correctly either. Holy Lordy. Well, folks, like I said, hit that like button if you're enjoying what we're seeing. We're kind of shooting from the hip today, making sure we bring you the most up-to-date news heading into the weekend. And shout out to all of you patriots that joined us last night for our Dark MAGA podcast, man. I'll tell you what, I had fun. I've been juiced about doing these. I actually really enjoyed doing the Dark MAGA nights. I wasn't sure if I would because, again, I do this in the morning, then I go to work all day. I work multiple jobs. Many of you know that. I work about 2 to 3 jobs. And then I came home after work and, I look at this somewhat as work, kind of. It's a hobby. It's fun. But, dude, I was juiced for it yesterday, man. I was ready to go to hang out with all of you guys. So thank you for joining me last night. And something that really spoke to me last night was how many of you said, hey, thank you for doing a live stream in the evening because I'm not able to join in the mornings. And I love being a part of the community and chatting with the Patriots. So that opened my heart last night going, hey, we're reaching out to more people. And that's what's most important. Having a good time with one another. So shout out to all of you. Thank you. Well, look at this. Look at this. Now, I'm gonna be fair. Daily Wire didn't really do justice here. Okay. We got to give credit where credit's due. It's not 90%. Okay. It's 93% actually. So border crossings plunge 93% to historic lows under Trump crackdown. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Hey, remember, Joe Biden for years was like, we're going to get it under control. It's just a situation. It's just a problem. It's not a crisis. I'd like to point out other countries even acknowledged the immigration as a crisis. And if you weren't with us last night, we did show Prime Minister Modi of India talking about how India doesn't even take in illegal immigrants, that they don't even deal with that crap, and that he's fully backing Donald Trump. India is based. India came out and said, we're not doing this. I can't do a friggin' Indian accent, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So illegal crossings this month fell to levels not seen in decades. That's plural, folks. After President Trump intensified his crackdown, newly revealed federal data show. It turns out that when you bring the troops to the border and you're serious, and then you start showing shots of deporting people on planes, yeah, I think the whole world is going to take you a little bit serious. So much so that India also said last night that they're willing to take in any illegal aliens that are from India in the United States back to India. Mike, back again. Thank you. Mike gave us a donation last night, or yesterday at least. Rebuke the demons from them in the name of Jesus Christ. That, sir, is a good dono. That is a good donation right there, especially connecting it to the Salem witch trials. Well, early data from CBP shows that now I want this number lower to be quite honest, but only 359 illegal immigrants are being processed daily across the southern border, reflecting a 90% decrease for the same period last year. But remember, Joey's good at leading the country. Yeah, Democrats have been doing a phenomenal job. So much so, as I keep mentioning, they wanted to put Kamala Harris forth, a lady that drove the state of California into the ground. She was a terrible vice president. She was the border czar. She's going to really expect us to see her fix anything? Are you kidding me? Why don't you fix your marriage, bitch? We threw that one out really quick, didn't we? Huh? You weren't expecting that. I got to keep you on your toes in the morning, Patriots. Some of you were falling asleep. I saw you getting the droopy-eyed. This is great news. Now, I want to see this down to, I want to see single digits. That's what I want to see. Now, I might be asking for a little much. It's a lot of border. It's a lot of border. But I want to see it down to the single digits and I'll be happy. Like, okay, fine. I'll take double digits. Okay, I'll take 99 or less. That's fine. According to the international documents recently shared with the Post, CBP recorded almost 4,000 illegal immigrant encounters through February 11th. If that pace holds, total crossings may end near or below 10,000 for the month, a figure comparable to 2017. This is still way too big of a number for me. This is not acceptable. And as I mentioned, I'm going to hold Trump's feet to the fire. I know he's working on it, and I know it's only been 3 weeks. I get all of that. I'm just saying this is not acceptable for the next 4 years. This isn't even acceptable for the next 2 years, or I would say even year. I'll take 0 too. I'm right there with you, little one. You know, I'm right there with you. I would love for 0. Look, we could all dream. But this is unacceptable. Because remember, some of those people are going to be terrorists. Some of these people are going to be criminals. They have fake passports. We've already covered that from Sarah Adams, codenamed Superbad, who's a CIA terrorist targeter. I don't like this. So let's get it down, Trump. Let's handle it. And he is. They're putting out razor wire. They're getting the work done out there on the border. Somebody did have, and I don't know if I posted it. I'll check really quick. Somebody was posting some video footage of our military in real time, putting up razor wire, which was kind of nice to see them throwing that out there. So why don't we show this a little bit? Here's some razor wire. Now, there's not much of a fence taking place, but I don't know what the hell that is. I guess we don't have it. All right. I'll see if I can find it for y'all in real time while we're looking at something else. As always, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's always helpful if you guys hit that like button and smash it. Both are at Rumble. A lot of people on Rumble don't smash that like button, but smash it anyways, so that you help us grow here. Now, this was news yesterday regarding tariffs, where Trump threatens retaliatory tariffs on countries participating in unfair trade. Now, Trump has some cojones, Patriots, because in our Dark MAGA podcast, our evening show that we do, Trump looked at Modi while he was doing his speech and called him out, saying, look, India is the highest country or the biggest country to impose tariffs on us. And he said, look, I don't blame them, but we got to have retaliatory measures here on India. So if they're going to impose 70% tariffs on us for, say, I don't know, hell, cars, well, then we're going to impose 70% tariffs on them as well. He said this right in front of the guy. And that's what I love about it. There's no kissing down to somebody's feet. It just is what it is. It's two grown men in a room, and they're going at it regarding trade. And countries are going to respect you for that. And so it's going to be retaliatory measures, and he was open about it. So President Donald Trump threatened to place tariffs on any country that currently places duties on U.S. goods and does not receive equal treatment from the United States. We've been taken advantage for far too long, and the buck stops with Trump. Trump signed a memorandum ordering an investigation and report into the state of international trade with the United States. One of the chief goals of the reports is to identify countries that currently place economic boundaries to goods from the United States, but do not suffer the same hurdles in getting access to the U.S. markets. On trade, I have decided the purpose, and for purposes of fairness, that I will charge a reciprocal tariff, meaning whatever countries charge the United States, America will charge them. No more lies. Sorry. I'm so used to reading Trump's quotes here. No more or no less. For many years, the United States has been treated unfairly by other countries. I mean, the fact that people are arguing that statement is so head spinning to me, especially where you're seeing the Democrat Party sending our money to of transgender surgeries for dolphins out in the Atlantic or some bullshit like that. I'm sorry to cuss, but it is BS. There's no better word to describe it. We're being treated unfairly. And what countries are willing to do, I'll give you an example. The Biden administration gives the Iranians $10 billion of humanitarian aid. And then what the Iranians do is, now that they know they have shored up $10 billion of their budget, well, now they could take money and give it towards terrorism, which they're the leading sponsor of terrorism. And then they go attack our merchant vessels and sink them to the bottom of the ocean. I would say that's being treated pretty unfairly, in my opinion. You don't see us sinking other people's merchant vessels down to the bottom of the oceans, do you? So they take our money, then they slander us, they chant death to America in their government chambers, and then the Ayatollah comes out and goes, no, that's not just a slogan, that is a policy. That is verbatim, by the way. That is an exact phrase from the Ayatollah. It's bonkers. It really is. So no, there's no argument here. We are being treated unfairly. There's a bunch of two-faced nations out there that say all this stuff to our face and they talk shit behind our backs, or vice versa, where they will talk bleep straight to our face at the United Nations Council, and then behind closed doors, they're kissing our feet. If you want to know where I'm getting that from, Nikki Haley's book, whether you like her or not, which is Trump's former UN ambassador, she wrote a book and detailed all the scummy crap that these nations are doing behind closed doors. Highly recommend her book when she was UN ambassador. Gives you a really big eye opener what the hell was going on. So the system will immediately bring fairness and prosperity back into the previously complex and unfair trade system. I have instructed my Secretary of State, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Treasury, and United States Trade Representative to do all work necessary to deliver basically a trade where they're going to, figure out the balance. So good on him. Good on him. And it seems like Marco Rubio has his work cut out for him. That man ain't going to see his family for a while. Marco Rubio is working on negotiations with Ukraine and Russia now. And then now he has to work on the trade stuff. He's also probably going to be working with India. Then we know coming up that he's probably going to have to be working with China here in a moment. Man, Rubio, shout out to him. A lot of us really gave him crap, right? And so did Trump with 2016 when Rubio was running for president. We gave him a lot of crap, but hey, you know what? I got to give, again, where credit's due. Trump made a good pick with Rubio, and he seems to be holding his own and doing everything necessary to make America great again on a global stage. So shout out to Rubio for doing a great job. And look, if Rubio does a great job as Secretary of State, throughout U.S. history, especially more early on, the Secretary of State was really known to be the next president of the United States. So that was kind of one of those steps in the ladder or in the chain to become the next president. You could very well see coming up here that, I know we expect JD Vance maybe to be running again, but there's a good conversation to be had that if Marco Rubio does an A+ job here, that he would be running for the office of the presidency. And I think he'd make a very good case of, hey, look, I worked with these nations. I negotiated with them. I have a relationship that America needs to be the next president of the United States. I am good at decision making. I'm good at negotiations. Trump was the one that put me in this position because I am. I mean, hey, it's a good argument. Whether you like Rubio or not, it's still a good argument. The guy's killing it. Appreciate everybody in the live chat. I see all of you. Some of your comments I can't read, but I do. If you're seeing me look this way at any moment, that means I'm reading your chats, by the way. If you're ever curious. Well, we got this article here, and things are not looking good. Now, I do not plan on seeing this. I have a coworker that asked me if I was going to see it, and I said, you know what? You take the sacrifice for me. You go pay your money, because tickets nowadays are like $20, man. They're ridiculous. You go pay the money to go see that movie, and you let me know if it's worth it. About 3 days ago, I saw people coming out of the movie who had already seen it and said this quite possibly might be a contender for the worst Marvel movie out there. Well, new Captain America movie trashed by critics gets record low score ahead of release. I mean, Marvel is not doing well, folks. This is what happens when you go woke. What happens when you go woke, Patriots? What happens in the chat when you go broke? Oh, I gave the answer. Oops. You go woke, you go broke. That was not intentional. That wasn't a bit. I just messed it up. Well, Captain America, Brave New World, is slated to open this weekend and is already generating negative attention with some of the worst critical reviews of any Marvel film to date. And that is saying something, because there was some real trash that Marvel was putting out before. The fourth installment of the MCU's Captain America franchise is led by Anthony Mackie, who took over the role from Chris Evans. I just don't think it's a compelling character. There was a previous, I don't know if it's a TV show or it was a movie, it's one or the other, and they were basically putting forth this anti-American rhetoric in the terms of everybody's racist. Oh, look, I'm a black guy. And they did this whole thing in the street where the cops were questioning him because he was allegedly black, all this crap. And I remember I even took a look over to my wife and I was like, nobody talks like this. It was one of those scenarios that was completely fabricated to pretend that's how people talk when in actuality they don't. In the same way, when we started today's podcast, you know how we showed those trans LGBTQ plus, those progressive crazies that were at the city council meeting, and they're saying Donald Trump wants to deport trans people and they're going to take away my LGBTQ rights and I'm afraid for my life and all this stuff. Nobody really talks like that. And by the way, nobody is talking like that other than them. It's all completely fabricated. I understand a movie's supposed to be fabricated. It's supposed to be imaginary. I get that. But there's supposed to be some sort of sense of realism here. And you're not getting that in the show or this movie. So he took over the role of Chris Evans, which set up for failure automatically. I just don't think he's also that good of an actor, to be honest. Other characters in the latest installment include Red Hulk, Harrison Ford, who I absolutely love, by the way. The leader, Tim Blake Nelson, and Sidewinder, Espinito. I don't know who that is. Brave New World has the 52% critics score. Woof. Now, let's be fair. Critics are not always correct. More often than not, actually, I don't look at the critics score. I look at the audience score. And that's why I brought up when I was listening to people and what they were saying about this movie. They did not like it. Oh boy, no, they did not. No, sir. Digital Trends critic called the film a new rock bottom for the franchise with a mess of a plot. No blockbuster that cost this much money should look this shoddy. Damn, bro. Oh my God. Yeah, these are ruthless. These are ruthless. Giant slot machine. Wow. Out of control into the confused and shallow mess that we have before us. Holy Lord. Yeah, this is bad. Humorless. Pixel pounding mismatch. Okay. I wasn't expecting it to be that rough because normally critics tend to be on the side of Disney because Disney pushes the narrative that they love, which is transing your kids and gender affirming them and indoctrinating them through subliminal messaging. They usually like that stuff. So if there are just smacking the crap out of them, you know it's going to be a rough movie. So somebody in the Patriot community, please go sacrifice yourself and your time and let us know if it's good. Toss me an email. Say, Brad, it's worth it. You were wrong. Would love to hear from you. Whoa, Jennifer says, I turned 50 in the hospital. One, I'm sorry that you're in the hospital. I hope everything's okay. We'll make sure we pray for you. And second, happy birthday, 50. Look, 50's the new 21. Have a drink for me. Have somebody slip something in there in the hospital. You know you're good for it. Get that drinky. But really, I hope that everything's okay, Jen. I really do. And Jen's been a long time listener and supporter of the show. Very long time listener. So makes me a little bit nervous. We're hoping Fantastic Four this time around is better. I'm right there with you, actually. I'm hoping so too. But Marvel is not looking hopeful. Now, I want to know how this happens. Some of us have been in a car accident before. You know, you try to turn around and do the beep, beep, beep. You try to, reverse it. We get it. Sometimes there's small cars. You get in the way. You bumper, beep, bop, boop. Can somebody explain to me how you crash an aircraft carrier into a cargo ship? Hand to God, if this comes out that the driver was a DEI hire, I'm going to fall over in my chair. There's a lot of stereotypical jokes I could make here, and I'm not going to because the left lose their mind. Maybe in a year or two, when we actually bring our culture back to where we could joke again about other races and have fun and not be serious about it, we could do it. Now, if anybody knows my personality in here, my true personality is I love comedy. And for me, there's not much in the way of something that I'm going to be like, whoa, that's way too disrespectful. That's how much I love comedy. That's why I support Tony Hinchcliffe. I support a lot of the comedians out there because I absolutely love it. And I laugh at everything. I really do. It doesn't always come across in the show. Sometimes it does, but I have to contain myself. How the hell does this happen? Let's find out. The U.S. Navy said on Thursday that a nuclear-powered submarine. Wow, what the fuck is wrong with me today? I didn't even read it. I just said it. I literally just said nuclear powered and I just stopped reading and I was like, oh, it has to be a submarine. Geez, there's a blooper. A nuclear powered aircraft carrier was involved in a collision. See, the submarine would actually make logical sense, which is maybe why my brain said it. I could see a submarine because there's no windows, right? There's no looking out the window going, oh, there's a huge freaking cargo ship. Boom. Here you're driving an aircraft carrier. Little hard to bump into something, I would say, right? Little hard to miss. Thank you so much, Big Mac, for joining over at Rumble. I do get notifications on my watch when you guys follow. So the famous Nimitz class aircraft carrier, USS Harry S. Truman, was involved in a collision with a merchant vessel on the 12th. While operating in the vicinity of Port Said, Egypt, in the Mediterranean Sea, the collision did not endanger the Harry S. Truman, as there are no reports of flooding or injuries. The propulsion plants are unaffected and in a safe and stable condition. Navy officials said they have launched an investigation into the incident and will release more information as it becomes available. The aircraft carrier is built in the 90s under President Bill Clinton and cost $4.5 billion. Well over $10 billion today. Holy lordy. The U.S. Naval Institute noted the ship deployed in September from Naval Station Norfolk in Virginia in the Central Command. So again, I don't really know how you bump into each other. I don't know if because it's in a port, maybe it's a tiny port. There's some sort of reason for this. And how big was the collision, right? That's my, you scrape a fender, you cough on each other, they'll call it a collision, right? Because it's news. And people like me will be asking, just like all of you, how do you miss a cargo ship? How do you not see an aircraft carrier? Unbelievable. But it happened, nonetheless. It still happened. Now, here you go. North Carolina residents asked Trump to intervene after officials prioritize hurricane relief by race. And then people wonder, not us patriots, like we get Trump. We understand because Trump's common sense, as are all we. Yeah, our heads are on straight. A lot of Democrats aren't. A lot of progressives are not. Trump said we maybe need to get rid of FEMA or we need to rework it. I tend to agree. This is crazy. A North Carolina citizen group is asking that the Trump administration to intervene after local leaders prioritize Hurricane Helene small business relief grants on the basis of race and sex. Look, if a Republican or conservative was the one doing this, hand to God, I'd fall over my chair. The reason why is because this is not a conservative Republican ideology. This is a progressive, by definition, Democrat ideology. Democrat Party has always been the party of race. We always say it here. Somebody could put on lipstick and claim they're a pig. It doesn't mean they are. Somebody could go around claiming they're a Republican, but their ideology is the complete opposite. A lot of us call them rhinos or a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yes, it's possible. That's why just because it comes out that somebody's Republican, I'm going to look and see what they did. And I'm going to go, yeah, that's more of progressive. Yeah, that's not really Republican. But it says that they're a registered Republican. I don't care. Anybody could check a box on a thing and go out and do a bunch of crazy stuff and claim that they're Republican or they're a Trump supporter. Anybody can do anything. I look at somebody's actions and I see if their actions and what they say follows in line with a Republican or a conservative ideology. There is a difference between the two. And as I've always mentioned on the show, I'm a registered Republican, but I'm a fiscal conservative. The Republican Party is just the party that, as of what is out there, is a tool or a mechanism to get what I want done. And they're the closest party that does that. If there was a conservative party, you think I would be a registered Republican, Patriots? No, I wouldn't. I would be a conservative. Well, you got Western North Carolina Citizens for Equality filed a complaint with the Treasury Department last month after this county, was that Buncombe? I'm probably mispronouncing that. Apologize if you live in that county. Announced that it would focus on supporting small businesses damaged by Helene that were BIPOC and women owned. Was that, I don't know. Was that black people? People of color. I know that's people of color. I don't know what the it don't matter. They're doing stuff based on race, man. It ain't cool. It ain't good. And it just shows the woke crap is still out there, folks. And you got to get rid of it. You really do. And you know how they think when we say, oh, get rid of it? In their minds, they think we're saying deport them because they're idiots. There really are idiots out there. And some of us have to work with them, unfortunately. Oh, boy. In this situation, there's no doubt that this county intended to discriminate against white business owners in the Helene Relief Project. I mean, it's a callback too, right? Where they had FEMA not wanting to give aid to anybody that's advertising a Trump Vance sign. Doesn't shock me. It's disgusting stuff. It really is. You shouldn't do anything at all based on race. As I've mentioned, I know I'm beating a dead horse and I'm going to continue to be a dead horse till ever. We here as a community of patriots don't think race has anything to do with anything. If you do, then you got to really question yourself, ladies and gentlemen, because race has nothing to do with anything. Wow, you have more melanin in your skin. Whoa, stop traffic, notify the newspapers. Nobody gives a shit. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're a guy. I care about your character. I care about the things you do and the things that sometimes you say, not always. The reason why I say sometimes you say, if you say you're going to go kill somebody, I'm not really an advocate for that. You understand? That's why we got a community of melting pot here. We got Mexicans, we got Hispanics, we got black people, we got African Americans, we got white people, we got the whole brigade here, baby. And that's what America's about. And that's what I want to embody in my community. We don't have racists in my community. If you are one, get the hell out of here because you're not welcome. I don't like white supremacists. I don't like any of that, which is obvious. We all know this, but it needs to be said. Why? Because again, if we ever get big, what the left is going to do, they're going to go back through all my 2,000 videos because they're living in their mom's basement. They don't have time to do anything else and contribute to society. They're going to pull our clips out and then they're going to slander me one day. Oh, look at this racist. Look at this bigot, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of idiots. They don't have time to do anything else. Now, we have a lot of time to trash Democrats. Here's one of them. The View host, she's back again, Sunny Houston, floats bizarre theory why Trump would axe Department of Education. I could give you a theory as to why, because there's no need to have it. There isn't. I work in education. There's no need to have the Department of Education. I know people lose their minds when I talk about this, but it's true, and I'm not wrong. So here she is, and I'm sorry to subject you guys to this, because we're all going to come out dumber having to listen to Sunny Houston on The View. I always talk about how she has a law degree. No better time than to go into education and get an easy degree. Here we go.
Can I get in on this? Because, getting rid of the Department of Education is actually the first goal listed in the education section of Project 2025. We were talking about Project 2025. We warned everybody that that was the playbook, and it remains the playbook, and they are playing by that book. It is also the smallest of all the government agencies. So if you get rid of the Department of Education, you really don't have this sort of financial boon that they're telling you that you're going to have.
Many of you know I was a public accountant. Did taxes, multi-million-dollar companies, audited multi-million-dollar companies. I don't know everything about accounting. Matter of fact, because I've been out of it for so long, I've lost a lot of my knowledge, my memory of a lot of it. There's this push by the Democrats, which is very, very odd to me, on not just axing small things like the Department of Education, But also they've been saying, oh, well, the stuff that Elon Musk is canceling or getting rid of, well, it's only 0.007% of the budget. So it's not really, why even bother? We've always said this, and I'm telling you, it'll pay you dividends whenever you're in a political conversation or anything. If you could take something from an individual level, you can generally extrapolate that to a federal level or even, state and local level and back to you and vice versa. It's just linear. It just goes up and it goes down. On an individual level, if you were in debt, and let's just say you had a lot of debt on here on this card, and then you had some debt here and maybe a little bit of debt here. It's called the debt snowball for a reason. Is that there's a psychology where you can have a short-term, quick kind of motivation of accomplishment by tackling the small debt and then moving on to the medium-sized debt and then the large one, hence the snowball. If you could still tackle small debt or tackle small expenses that you don't need because they're frivolous, they're pointless, then you should get rid of it, because now you've lowered your overall budget to the hopes to where you could stabilize it or have somewhat of a surplus, and then start tackling the debt that you need to tackle so that you're not having the interest alone be more than your entire defense budget. This is all basic. Everybody knows this, right? Because we all deal with debt, or we all deal with paying our own bills. We all have to do it. And thank you to everybody that gives to the show, because we have bills for the show that we have to pay, and that helps pay for it. And of course, most of my money goes into it, but the people that do support the show, your money goes into it as well. And I appreciate you. And I want to make sure I always call that out and never take you for granted. But these people say asinine things, and I don't get their logic. I've tried, I promise you guys, outside the show, I've tried my best to go, what the are they talking about? This doesn't make sense. And here's some more nonsense.
It's not really about saving money.
No.
I think there's a much more nefarious reason
There
for
always
it.
has to be
I
with
think
her.
it's because without education, you get cheaper labor. I think what they want to do is create in the United States a permanent underclass, a permanent cheap workforce, because educated workers cost more. That is the bottom line, and that's what they're doing.
We don't even have enough time on the show for me to unravel everything she just said and why she's wrong. And I mean that in all seriousness. You guys know I could go on hours about education system, talk about the IQ levels, talk about how the IQ score has dropped, talk about the linear correlation between what the hell she's talking about versus what's actually happening in reality, on how our education is actually burning down, it's falling apart, it's completely fabricated. Everything you see in education is completely fake. It's basically just babysitting. Grades are inflated. People aren't actually passing. They're not graduating high school knowing what they need to know. They're not even close to being at grade level. They're probably about 3 or 4 grade levels below, meaning they're graduating high school at an 8th or 9th grade level. I could go on hours about this, but I'm not going to. What Donald Trump wants to do is give it back to the states. Allow the states to function. Stop giving everything in terms of responsibility to the federal government. States were designed through federalism to handle things on their own, and that needs to start happening again. We've allowed this to go on for far too long, making the federal government baby daddy and then having the states being baby mommy or nothing, and then relying on the government for everything. That's not how things are supposed to work. Give it back to the states. If you don't want to take education seriously, well, there's going to be ramifications with that. And maybe you'll wake up in college, or maybe you'll wake up in your trade, which is completely fine, and you'll live your life. But then when you're living your life and you're not making as much as the next guy, don't be complaining that you're not making as much. But as a society, what we've done now is, well, when somebody's a low-skilled labor worker, and nothing against them, because maybe they're not capable of doing a high capacity cognitive job of having to problem solve relatively quickly, meaning they can't move up the upper echelon of work, say be a lawyer or like an accountant or a statistician or an actuary. Well, yeah, you would be paid less because everybody else can do this job, but not everybody could do this job. But what we've done as a society is, well, these people should live like these people, so let's pay these people more so that you close that gap. Well, when you close that gap, welcome to what's going on today. Nobody wants to do this job anymore. Why the hell would I go bust my ass to do this job and have to work hard when I can make slightly little more money and do this job where I don't need any brain power whatsoever to scoop food onto a plate and hand it to a driver and make really good money? That's why right now, for example, Elon Musk is having trouble finding engineers. That is why there's a massive shortage in certified public accountants. Why on God's green earth would you ever go take out $100,000 plus worth of student loan debt to get an accounting degree to go get paid barely more than a guy that's scooping food at fucking Panda Express for $25 an hour? That's not a joke, by the way. To scoop food onto a plate and hand it to you. That dude's making just almost as much as some people going into accounting are. This dude's handling a multi-million-dollar business, multiples of them. This guy's scooping food onto a plate, smoking weed, going home. Why would you do this? And now you're about to see the unravelings of a societal collapse if we don't get that under control. I know that people want to have a nice life. I would love for them to have a nice life too, but that's up to you and your decision-making on the multiple sequences of decisions that you made throughout your life. But now because everybody wants to get paid $30 an hour because it's a living wage, whatever the hell that means, you get pushback when you say things like that. I'm sorry, but not everybody deserves to make the same amount of money, and not everybody deserves to live the same life as everybody else. Welcome to the world. Welcome to unfairness. It just doesn't happen. I don't think you should get paid $30 an hour to scoop food onto a plate. If you want to rationalize that to me, somebody explain that one to me. But I hate to say it, those jobs aren't supposed to be careers. We turn them into them, and that's why we're in this bleep storm of everything being so expensive. God, why does a burger cost $25? Well, I don't know. By the way, if you're new here to the show, we have broken down the price of a burger, and we covered the article by Glenn Beck from The Blaze. I even remember it, where a burger costs about 1/3 of everything. So the more you increase the labor, some of that, and right now a lot of that, is being passed on to the consumer. And so all you're going to do is, because they want to make just as much as everybody else that's working corporate jobs, your food's going to keep going up. So welcome. Happy Valentine's Day, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And again, happy birthday to Jennifer. I know you do, Jimmy. Calm down, Jimmy. I see you. All righty, we got more news here, folks. We're not going anywhere. Hit that like button if you can. We got a lot of patriots in the chat today. It's good seeing all of you. If you guys are curious, some days we're hitting 2,000 downloads for this main podcast, which is absolutely bonkers and amazing to think that there's 2,000 patriots out there that listen to us each and every day. Folks, that's 24,000 people. 24,000 people. Roughly is what we get. That's our average. About 24,000 downloads a month is what we get. So we've been doing pretty well, even with YouTube suppressing us. So I think the advertisers are working. Well, if you're looking for a great way to place online for news, discussion, and entertainment, then check out Truth Social. You guys did ask if I'm on Truth Social. I am on there. I don't post much on there, but I am on there. I wouldn't plug something and then I don't do it myself. Like 7075 Coffee. You guys got to get that. You got to get positive. You got to get Truth Social, Donald Trump's social media website. You'll get breaking news stories, and the guys posted on there all the time, and commentary from top media figures. If you want to see Trump's legendary Truth Social post, then get Truth Social today. It's absolutely free, folks. Just go and download it. Join a growing community of patriots on a free speech platform designed to avoid censorship and cancellation by big tech. Make sure your voice is heard. Join the movement today. Join Truth Social. Again, it's free. Make an account and follow all your favorite creators. I'm on there. Like I said, I don't post as much. I probably should, but it's still a great site to get the news. I do go check on there, and I use that as a resource when I'm building out the show for the next day. Check out Truth Social. Get that app today. It's a nice one. We got more news. We're not going anywhere, folks. Thank you for the great job. I appreciate that. Thank you, Krager. And thank you to everybody that always tunes in. I love you guys. You know that. I do this for the community and because I like going over the news and having a little bit of fun. But again, I know I repeat myself, guys, and I want to make sure that I always say this because I think a lot of creators need to say it more often. The community is what makes it fun. And that's why I try to read your chat and engage with you a little bit more than hopefully other creators do. So here we go. We got Israel and others trying to plan launches for strikes. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Israel's getting a little bit more of a backbone now that Donald Trump's in office, right? They basically took the duct tape off their gooch and dropped their you-know-whats and go, all right, now we're ready to roll, boys. Yeah, let's do it. Woo! Israel was stoked when Trump got elected. They were. Whether you like Israel or not, because I know there's people in here that have their, bias against them. And I get it. I tend to lean more towards Israel because I know that if somebody got control of power in the region, they would try to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that. Now, that doesn't give them a pass of like, we'll just go bomb a bunch of civilians and and be a bunch of idiots and do this or that. I don't give them the free pass whatsoever. But you got to give them the right to survive here. So Israel reportedly planning to launch significant strikes against the Iran nuclear site. We did cover this a little bit yesterday, but I want to cover it again for those that missed it. The Wall Street Journal reported that the analysis, which was done during the final days of the Biden administration, concluded that Israel is looking to take maximal advantage of Iran's weakened state. And Iran's weakened state is going to continue here. And what we highlighted yesterday as well was Donald Trump is far more likely to support Israel's decision to take out the nuclear sites than former President Joe Biden. Now, what I would like to happen is, if this is going to take place, is go ahead and have Israel do these strikes, but have it be on the Israelis' dime. That's what I'd really like. I would like our allies to start using their own money to go kind of do these things that not just benefits us, but also benefits them, and not have us pay for it. I would like the UK to start, Shib, can you get your guys out there and start bombing some people too every once in a while? Shit. Why does it always have to be us? Yeah, folks, if you're unsure who Shib is and others from we got a lot of guys in the UK that watch our show because there's patriots out there. They love our country too. They're our allies. If we ever went to war, we need them. We'll be in the trenches with them. Shib, can you get your guys to go bomb some people every once in a while? It's always us. We're tired. Okay. We need our money back. We need our money. We need our money back. Well, Brian Stelter is in the news, and this kind of came out last night with James O'Keefe commenting. Brian Stelter says, AP confirms my reporting and says, we are deeply concerned that the White House continues to prevent AP reporters from doing their job covering the president. This sets an alarming precedent that has the potential to affect every news outlet. Shut up, Brian. You're an idiot. So James O'Keefe comes out and says the previous White House sent federal agents to raid newsrooms at gunpoint, and you didn't give an F, correct? Practice introspection and to discover why you have no viewers and why nobody trusts you. Look at me. We are now the media. And then you know what James did? James posted this. Yes. James is great. Look at me. Look at me, Captain. I'm your captain now. I love it. It's true. Not to mention, remember, the Biden White House wanted to create the Ministry of Truth and tell you what was misinformation, disinformation, and tell you what was right or wrong. And they were known to remove White House press badges from the White House press corps. And they removed people from the room. And they blacklisted people in the White House and wouldn't answer or take their questions. I always say this because people don't believe me. We do know, meaning me, Brad, know people in that White House press briefing room. I talk to them. I'm not going to tell you how I talk to them. I'm not going to tell you which ones I talk to. You might have your suspicions. I'll let you leave it as that. I know for a fact that they all know that Karine Jean-Pierre put them in the penalty box. Karine Jean-Pierre would basically blacklist certain people in that room, and everybody knew about it. So don't give me this crap, Mr. Brian Stelter, the most trustworthy news. Guys, I can't even believe he still has a job. I mean, he sucks. He's absolutely terrible. Really, really just terrible. We're still bringing you the news, folks. DOGE is almost actually, DOGE might be at 100 billion already. Let me see the debt clock. Pull this up for you, Patriots. Let's take a gander. They're at $94 billion. Very well, by the end of next week, could reach 100 billion. If we're doing, let me do a quick beep bop boop here. Let's see if we're doing, what is it? We're doing 100 billion every 3 weeks. Is it 100? No, is that 100 billion? Geez, that is 100 billion. Holy Lordy. Yeah, you're looking close to, if we keep this pace, you're looking at close to $2 trillion, folks. It's great. I mean, this is such a great thing. And Democrats don't think so. So this is good news. This is good news. It's the news. We have this also breaking right now. Vance, this is 30 minutes ago, breaking news. Vance on Thunberg versus Musk, a Democratic endurance test. Vice President J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference humorously remarked that if American democracy can withstand a decade of criticism from Greta Thunberg, European democracies should be able to handle a few months of commentary from Elon Musk. He empathized that expressing opinions by influential figures does not equate to election interference, underlying the importance of valuing diverse perspectives in democratic processes. I'll play it in a moment here, but it is true. It's remarkable that The View, the Democrat Party, all these other people on the progressive side of the aisle are complaining how Elon Musk hired a bunch of teenagers to go over and look through the books and see what we're being wasteful and what's being fraudulent, and then highlighting it for us. When this is the party, the progressive, the Democrat Party, that were slopping, drooling over Greta Thunberg, going, you guys are going to destroy us. You don't know what you're talking about. We have 3 minutes to live, and it's all because of you guys. Remember that girl? And you couldn't say anything because she has a form of autism, and you couldn't hound her because she was a child. So now that she's an adult, now we could call her out for being a complete idiot. But remember, she was a child, and they puppeted her up there and pretended like she was holier than thou, that she was the second coming of Christ, that she was like Mary Magdalene, or that she was some sort of holy figure, and we should all listen to her act insane. And then they still puppet her out there for all this climate change stuff. Unbelievable. Brock says, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Only takes 1 second, but really helps the channel. Thank you so much for that comment. That's a really kind and polite thing to do. Helping get the word out there and helping me out. Thank you. And you guys do that over at Rumble as well. I see you guys do that, telling, and as a reminder, hey, help out and hit that like button. So thank you so much for throwing out the reminders in the chat. It helps me run the show. You guys are as much into the show as I am. You guys help me out. I appreciate that. Not just through memberships, but also through small things like that. Thank you so much. Well, here's JD.
And expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what German democracy...
Wait, hold on. It's real. I know it's quiet for you guys. It's also quiet for me. So I can't adjust volumes. Everything's at max. And then I can adjust it down if it's too loud. I can't adjust it up because everybody has different recordings of things. And I listen through my headset on my lap. So were people laughing? That's the key.
A few months of Elon Musk.
Oh, dude, nobody laughed. Look at, and he gave the side eye. Look at what? Ooh. Where is it?
You guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk.
He goes, shit, that didn't land.
But what German...
Oh, it's okay. Not everything sticks, JD. I thought it was good. I liked it.
Democracy, what no democracy, American, German, or European, will survive, is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered.
I wish it would have landed. I wish people would have appreciated it. Now, there could be people smiling, and I would like to point out, maybe not everybody is laughing. I'm pretty sure there were some. And I also want to take into consideration, I'm not just trying to help JD out. Sometimes there is some sort of noise suppression on those mics where maybe it's not picking up everybody. So I would imagine there are some people smiling, some people cracking up because he's a charmer. How could you not laugh with JD? He's gracing them with his presence. We have more news to cover before we end here, folks. If you're enjoying, like you mentioned, hit that like button. Let's see what's actually happening right now, where JD Vance challenges Europe on free speech, which is a huge thing, I think, for everybody here. So he says right here, again, as of 14, I'm trying to give you guys the breaking news before we end here. During his address at the Munich Security Council, Vice President JD Vance criticized Europe for what he perceives as a threat from fundamental values like free speech, highlighting cases like the conviction of a British man for silently praying near an abortion clinic as examples. He emphasized that the biggest threat to Europe is internal, stemming from its own policies rather than external threats, urging the continent to take a larger role in its security and to reconsider its approach to free speech and immigration.
And expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor. If American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg.
So it's the same thing, but the opinion thing is important. Now, here's the issue, and I don't want to be one of those, as you guys notice, I could go into more of philosophy, kind of like the Daily Wire does. Like, I think the Daily Wire has kind of been roasted enough for trying to take every little bit of content and trying to unravel it into some sort of philosophical conversation when that doesn't need to be had. All I'm going to say is on this one is he's saying that it's more of an internal threat than an external threat for what's happening with a lot of these Western countries. But it's more so it started with an external threat. You allowed a massive amount of immigration to take place, whether that was legal or illegal. My point doesn't matter for either one right here. You need to bring in people that will hold to your value systems, your creeds, and whatever laws that are on the books. When you have a bunch of people immigrate from different cultures, they are inherently going to bring that culture with them. When they bring that culture with them and they have no desire to assimilate to your values, to your culture, to your creed, over time, the more you bring in those people, you're going to dilute whatever culture, creed, value system was originally created in that country. And then you're going to have a massive crumble and you're going to fall from within. You're seeing the same thing happen in the United States right now, where as great as legal immigration is, you also have illegal immigration happening. We have an internal conflict happening the same way in our country. Then that's why I said Western countries, where you've allowed so many people to come here legally and illegally, where you have a cultural shift taking place to where that's why you have a bunch of people flying the Mexican flag in the United States. That's why you have a bunch of pro-Hamas supporters here in the United States, also on student visas, because there is no sense of, hey, maybe we should question you coming here legally in the first place. Maybe you don't need papers. Maybe you don't need to become an American citizen because of the things that you support. And that doesn't hold to our value system. We would like to keep our country intact because we have something going great here. And because we're an external outlier compared to any other republic or democracy that's ever existed in human existence, we would like to keep this experiment going because we like the way it's working. And now you're seeing an internal threat and also an existential threat to a lot of Western nations. And it's because of the values and the creeds and the systems that aren't being upheld. And we have to do that. So that's probably as much as I'm going to leave it there. But Daily Wire and others would probably go a lot further with that. And if that's something you would like for me to do, is break that down even further, I would be more than happy. But you'll fall asleep and then you might get a little bit bored. And you guys are frankly here for the entertainment and all the news that we cover. Well, we'll end it there. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. If you don't have a Valentine's, I'll be your Valentine. And I really do mean that. My X page, I just want to, you guys know my word is my bond. I have my X page here. Now, when I say you can be my Valentine, don't be acting a little weird with me, right? But what I'm saying is, if you need somebody to talk to, you're having a tough time, hit me up on X here. I have messages, and you got like Pat is. Hold on, let me do this real quick. I just want to show proof. Here's Patriots. You guys are in the chat. Here's Pat. Y'all see Pat. Here's Autumn. Travis contributes. You see our boy Dylan. Natalie Natalie's somebody else. Natalie's from White House correspondent lady. She doesn't talk to me. But I just want you guys to know that you know, I do talk with you guys. And if you need somebody to chat with, or if you want to vent to somebody, toss me a thing on X or on TikTok or whatever. I talk with Dizzy on TikTok. I just want you guys to know that I'm here to listen to you and you know, hear you out. So have a great Valentine's Day. Be safe if it's raining. A lot of you are in California with me as well. The roads are slick. And just don't get too crazy, but have a good weekend. Have a blessed weekend. President's Day's Monday. Make sure you pray for this country. Pray for your families, your friends. Pray for Jennifer, who's in the hospital, and everybody else. Pray for all our friends and family members that are in the Patriot chat here. Love you guys. Take care of one another. And well, Team No Valentine. It's okay. It's okay. It's like calming down that kid that's crying. It's okay. But Trump will be your Valentine, and I might be here tomorrow on Saturday. Some people are asking, are we going to have a stream Saturday? I'll see what I can do on that one. We'll see if we have time. With that being said, have a lovely day, Patriots. Take care of one another. See you later.